Hey Scouts! Marissa here in Austin, Texas with an adventure video for you. My grandma lives in a different state, so I decided to give her a call and ask her a few questions.
So the first question is, where were you born?
I was born and raised in Crystal Falls, Michigan, which is a town in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, almost on the Wisconsin border. The Upper Peninsula was home to a lot of the Finnish immigrants because the UP Upper Peninsula looks a lot like Finland.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the country. My mom and dad had a house on this, what they called Memory Lane. There were probably 10 houses down that lane. I have 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, but everyone on that lane seemed to have 3 or 4 kids. So when the school bus would come, there were 34 kids getting on the school bus from our little old neighborhood. I can remember getting on the school bus when it was 50 below zero, and at that time they didn't allow girls to wear pants to school, so we really got cold.
What activities did you do when you were a kid?
Living in the country, we played a lot outside and in the woods. We made forts, we improvised. We also had a river close by, so we learned to swim in the river. And so we're all pretty good swimmers.
How was your childhood different from mine?
I think my childhood was a little bit different because we did grow up in the country and we had a lot more freedom. There weren't all the different things that you have today. We had a television, but we got 2 TV stations. And those TV stations, we got to watch cartoons sometimes on Saturday morning, but most of the time we'd be outside playing until it was time to come in and have dinner. Then we'd go outside and play again until it was bedtime.
And these last 2 questions kind of tie in together. But what family traditions are important to you? And what is your favorite childhood memory?
I think, as I said in the earlier video, I think the family tradition that I really remember the most is having a great big extended family. And for every holiday or every weekend, you'd always have a relative or relatives, and they'd all be getting together for that holiday. All the older aunts and uncles would give presents to all the young kids at Christmas time. You'd have a potluck with all the goodies, all the different Finnish foods or the French Canadian foods. So I think that that kind of was my best memory. I was related to so many kids that I never really had to make friends because I always had cousins around, and cousins are cousins no matter what.
Some of my family actually immigrated from Finland. In fact, my great-great-grandma was born on the boat while her family was traveling from Finland to Canada. Can you imagine? When I go and I visit my grandma, we cook a lot of Finnish food and spend a lot of time in the sauna. That is basically a 100-degree room where people hang out to sweat. I still have not figured out why that's the ideal way to spend time, but it makes for some good stories and definitely hits the spot when you've spent a day out in the snow. On the other side, my dad is actually related to John Adams, as in the second U.S. president. Now that's pretty cool. Here's a snapshot of my family tree. If you're looking for an outline to help get you started, definitely check online. There are a lot of good resources. Typically, the way you fill out a family tree is by starting from the bottom and working your way up. You start with your name down at the bottom of the tree, then your parents' names, then your grandparents' names, and then if you're able to add your great-grandparents' names, then you can do that. Birthdays are always awesome to add as well. In my family, everyone does a number of things every day, whether that's getting ready, making the bed, finishing schoolwork, cleaning up dishes, etc. Now let me show you a few things that I'm responsible for at home. At my house, I am responsible for feeding the pets. I have both a dog and a cat. Nell gets 1 cup of dry food in the morning and at night, and then of course some treats in between. Nova, because she's still a kitten, gets wet food 3 times a day. And then of course I also have to make sure that her dry food bowl is full. I'm also expected to make my bed and do my laundry. I decided to help my dad with yard work. Here's picture proof that I helped mow the lawn. Until next time, happy scouting!